So today I've got a Jaguar XF of the year 2011. It has got a DPF problem. Therefore, you will see inside the instrument cluster, it will write DPF full, visit the dealer. It will also write performance is restricted inside the driver information display. So I just collected it from a customer again, and what we're going to be doing is, since they'd already gutted the exhaust, we are noticing the vehicle puffing a bit of white smoke from the back. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be converting it to a non-DPF. You'll find out that similar vehicles like this, which are being produced in South Africa, don't come with a DPF, right? So that's exactly what we're going to be doing on this vehicle, converting it to non-DPF, and then see how it will perform afterwards. But basically, it is going to improve in terms of its power. It's also going to improve in terms of its fuel consumption. So now I'm actually taking it to my workshop, and after I'm done, I'll do another video. I'll show you how it would then be performing. So usually the cars that come with these DPF systems are cars which are coming from Europe and mostly Japan, right? They are deliberately fitted with these DPF systems so as to limit the amount of carbon footprint that is getting into the atmosphere, right? That is what the DPF mechanism is mainly doing, right? So you find out that vehicles from as early as 2004 going to date would come with such systems. I think I've got a video that really explains how these systems are implemented, and in which year they've come into play, and how they then work within these vehicles. I think I've got a detailed video that explains that, but what I really wanted to draw your attention to is the fact that here in Africa, simply because we do not have such laws, we are able to convert these vehicles into non-DPF, right? We are able to convert, if it had an AdBlue system as well, we should be in a position to convert them to non-AdBlue as well. Now you'd find out that a similar vehicle that is being manufactured in South Africa or being produced in South Africa will not come with a DPF system, okay? And the reason is simple. Here in Africa, we don't have such laws, so why would the manufacturer spend extra money in putting these systems when there is no legal requirement to do so, right? In Europe and in Japan, there is a strict legal reason to do so, hence the reason why you see these cars with such systems. So how we are going to be resolving the issue on this car is we are actually going to convert it to non-DPF. Okay, so the error messages that we got when we connected our diagnostic tool are the ones that you are looking at on the screen, right? So like I said, what these guys did is they emptied the contents of the diesel particle filter, right? And the computer detected that there is a problem, and hence it then gave those faults, right? And then now you're starting to see the vehicle getting into limp mode, right? It won't give you the maximum power. That's one. Two, you're beginning to see white smoke coming from the exhaust, and the reason why you're seeing white smoke coming from the exhaust is because the vehicle is overfueling, right? The reason why it's overfueling is because it's trying to raise its exhaust temperatures all the way to 1,000 degrees Celsius, but unfortunately, because the insides have been removed, it's failing to do so. That's why you start to see white smoke coming from the exhaust. That's exactly what's happening on this vehicle, and of course, exactly those fault codes that we are looking at are the reason why we've got a check engine light. Okay, so our solution here is going to be lifetime. As I said, we're going to be performing conversion to non-DPF on this vehicle, and how that conversion works is there are two things that are going to happen. The first thing is obviously the hardware. The DPF hardware is going to be dealt with. That's number one. And then number two, we're going to go to the algorithm because what happens is this vehicle has got a special algorithm which operates inside the computer. That special algorithm is the one that knows how the DPF is supposed to operate, is the one that has brought the force that we are looking at, and the one that also sends message to the driver information that DPF is full and that it's restricting the performance of the vehicle. All that is being done by a DPF algorithm. So both of those two things are going to be dealt with, the hardware and then also the software. So what's the benefit? Like I said, these DPFs fail, right? And ordinarily they are not even supposed to fail, okay? And the reason why you'd find them failing, especially here in Zimbabwe, in our country, is because of two things, which is number one, your driving habit, and then number two, the quality of fuel that we have. Now, I think most people already know, at the time of production of this video, that is 2019, on the 28th of October at this point, I can tell you that our fuel is very bad, right? It has got so much of impurities, and therefore you'd find out that as the car produces its exhaust air, the exhaust air that is coming out is not just coming out as particulate matter only, but it's also got other impurities. So you'd find out that those impurities will have an issue on the DPF. That's why you'd find out that they would be failing a lot. And also your driving habit. Now, if you're driving a short distance all of the time and not driving a particularly long distance, you're actually going to find out that your DPF is going to die far much faster. And why is that? The question is simply because the answer to that is simply because you are not giving your exhaust enough time to raise temperatures all the way to 700 or to 1000 degrees Celsius as it should. So it's simply because the temperatures are not going high enough. It means that it is not breaking soot at the required rate. So obviously your DPF will deteriorate far much faster. So replacing it with a brand new DPF is definitely going to lead you to the same problem that you had before, right? Simply because obviously if you're not changing the quality of fuel, if you're not changing your driving habits, it's going to die again. So you end up buying DPFs maybe every couple of months or something like that, which becomes really expensive, right? At the same time, we are also saying that as the DPF dies, it also kills other things, right? There's going to be a lot of back pressure that's going to be coming to your a lot of back pressure that's coming back to your turbo, which is one thing that DPF problem vehicles destroy. They tend to destroy the turbo a lot, and even the engine itself, right? So, you know, in terms of cost, looking at these issues from the perspective of cost, you'd find out that really going ahead with our solution tends to be better in terms of your pocket, in the short term and in the long term of it, right? So that's the first thing. Now the second advantage is that now obviously you're going to experience better power. Remember, the DPF hardware, those intestines have gone away, right? It means that you now have got a free-flowing exhaust, and because you've got a free-flowing exhaust, what it means is that your turbo is going to be able to breathe better. Your engine is going to be able to breathe better. Not only is this going to prolong the life of the engine, but it's also going to give it an extra bit of power, right? So it will perform a little bit better than any other similar vehicle which has got a DPF, right? Simply because of it being able to breathe better, right? So that's number two. And then number three, the big advantage that you're also going to notice is in terms of fuel consumption. Now, with me right now, I don't have the numbers for the Jaguar XF, but I can give you an example of other vehicles that we have done. Obviously, the results will differ from vehicle to vehicle. Now, simply because we get a lot of Nissan Caravans, simply because we get a lot of Toyota Hiaces and so forth, we already know that when these vehicles are having DPF issues, showing the same warnings or same error messages as this particular Jag, you'd find out that they tend to consume fuel a lot more, right? Now we know that a standard 60-liter tank on a Caravan is supposed to do well over or 600 kilometers, right? But you'd find out that with a full tank, you will only be able to do as much as 300 kilometers only. So I know that on this Jag, with these faults, it is consuming a lot of fuel. Even the owner himself even said it himself, right? It's consuming a lot of fuel. So after we have implemented our solution, you'd find out that in terms of fuel, it will perform better. Why? Remember, I told you that the goal of the DPF vehicles is to raise exhaust temperatures to 1,000, so as to break the what is inside the DPF hardware. So simply because it has been converted to non-DPF, it means that it will not try to raise its exhaust temperatures passively or actively in a process called regeneration. It will not do that, right? So that will be kinder to you in that in terms of fuel. It will perform better. It will be much more efficient simply because it doesn't deliberately overfuel from time to time. So those are the benefits that you're going to unlock from having taken our solution. And remember what I said, that this is a lifetime solution. It's not a solution that's going to work a week, a month, or is going to work a year. No. For the rest of the life of this vehicle, this solution is going to be working. Okay. So those are the benefits that are going to be unlocked from having converted your vehicle to non-DPF. So let us head back to the vehicle that we're working on, that Jag, and take it for a test drive, and let's see how good it's now performing. So I finished working this Jag. As you can see inside the instrument cluster, there is no more check engine light, and there is no more that information which was coming here, which was talking about the DPF, that I needed to visit a service center and that performance is restricted. That is no longer there. Okay. And immediately the other thing is it couldn't rev this car beyond 3,000 RPMs, but right now because it's no longer in limp mode, in limp mode induced by DPF, it means now it can rev to the maximum rev. And even when I took off, before I couldn't mesh to full throttle. When I took off, I meshed to full throttle and the car just went away. You could feel the turbo surge, you could feel the power coming in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do an endurance test. We're going to drive it over about 60 kilometers just to make sure everything is okay, just to make sure the faults don't come back, and to make sure that everything is perfect before we release the customer. Remember that we give a lifetime warranty on this solution, so we need to make sure that everything is perfect before we release it to the customer. So here I am going to be driving. I'm taking it on a drive for about 60 kilometers and I'll be updating you. Driven for about 15 kilometers. As you can see in the instrument cluster, there is no check engine light, there is no DPF full message or any performance restriction message on the instrument cluster. As I've been driving, I've been enjoying all the power of this vehicle, right? And you can see there is no smoke coming out of the exhaust whatsoever. There is no smoke whatsoever. So far so good. Another 45 kilometers to go. I've done a total of about 66 kilometers. As you can see, there is no check engine light, and the driver information display is not talking about DPF. So what that means is that everything is now in order on this vehicle. If you look on the mirrors, you can see there is no puff of white smoke coming out. So having driven, I've seen that everything is restored, the power is restored. Now I can release the car to the customer without a problem. So if you are having the same problem with your Jag or with your Jag XF or a Land Rover Evoque, I know it's got the same engine, although this one is heavily tuned for more power. Yeah, we can resolve it. We can resolve it without a problem at all. I hope you enjoyed watching our video. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence.
required for life God has given me. For I know who I am, I know who God's